The next game on our list is the Seattle Seahawks defeating the Detroit Lions in an absolute shootout. Who would have predicted this game would be 48-45? 48-45 in this game. Defense, what's defense? I don't know what that is. Seahawks defeat the Lions 48-45. What were your takeaways from this game, this shootout between two powerhouse offenses?
These powerhouse. Well, you know what? To be fair, the
Lions lead the league in points. The Lions have scored the most points in the NFL.
Well, I said that going into the game, and I told you that. I had mentioned to you that the Lions offense is one of the best in the NFL because they're creative. They push the pace. They're not afraid. They go for it on fourth down. They continue to push and push, and they're going to put pressure on a defense each and every week, and that will not change. But on the other end of that, their defense is, oh, boy, they're bad. Their defense is, oh, boy, bad. And now without Tracy Walker, and you can't let Geno Smith drop 320 and 2, plus Rashad Penny run for 150. You just can't do that. But no, honestly, this was a game between two bad football teams that are going to fight. Like these are competitive football teams. The coaches are going to have them competitive, and that's what it was. I don't take much from this game other than it was super high scoring and great for fantasy. If you had any of these pieces, by the way, I did tell everybody Jamal Williams would show out, and he did. I also said Jared Goff would show out, and he did. I believe I had Jared Goff in my top 10, or he was like my number 8 quarterback, and I got shit on for it.
You didn't get shit on, not from. I don't know who shit on you for that. I didn't shit on. I drafted him in DFS.
I know. And TJ Hawkinson, who I said would be a standout this week because there was no weapons. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to point out all my victory laps in fantasy because I might not be here tomorrow. So, but yeah, so it was just a high scoring game between two bad football teams. Like this is the 7-on-7 flag football championship because nobody wanted to tackle, nobody wanted to play defense, and Seattle just happened to do it a little bit more.
Yeah, it was. That's like the biggest thing from this game. It was an absolute shootout between these two teams. And I mean, Jared Goff with this Lions, really Jared Goff and Geno Smith both. And I'm going to point this out. The Seattle Seahawks, like, is it an overreaction when people are like side by siding Geno Smith and Russell Wilson, or is this legit? Geno Smith in this game, 23 of 30, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. No turnovers. Like, I mean, Geno time, baby. It's Geno time.
I'm not entertaining that conversation. That's
okay. That's fair. Okay. So who do you think stood out in a game where there was this much high scoring? Who stood out the most?
I mean, yeah. I had mentioned Geno Smith on the road hadn't played well. He was on the road in this game and he played well. So I'll say Geno Smith just because we know what we have in Geno. Like, he can do this, but for 17 weeks, he can't do this. That's the problem. As a quarterback in the NFL, you're looking for consistency. You're not looking for the Matt Flynn games. You're not looking for the one-offs where you're most of the time you're searching for answers. And then other times, oh, there he is. There's the guy that's going to get me some points. And again, it's not overly impressive because it was against a Detroit Lions defense that's really, really bad. But Geno Smith stood out. He did what he was supposed to do against a bad defense. He played well, got him the win. And he had to score all 48 of those points in order to get it. Like, if he scores 40, they lose. Excuse me. So he did enough to win, and now they're 2-2. And, shout out to the Seahawks for being 2-2 and being competitive.
Yeah. That's both. Shout out both these teams for being where they're at and being.
There's going to be so many 7-10, 8-9, 9-8 football teams in the NFL this year. So many, because all these teams are like win, lose. They look good one week, they look bad. There's going to be so many mediocre teams in the league.
We're riding a different roller coaster this year. We're riding a different roller coaster.
Yeah, it's one that goes like this.
Is it like that? I feel like we're starting to get into the it's like a little bit.
Like, no, it's 1 week. I mean, 1 week they're not good though. It's like you can watch them and still, like, I watched.
Yeah. No one knows what you're watching.
Seattle. I waited for it to come back because I was frozen. I watched Seattle in that game, and they were still. I'm like, that's a bad football team. They're not good. Like, that's going to get beat by a lot of teams in the league. So to me, it's just like this. Like, okay, it's more like it's not really a roller coaster. It's like a jump. They get it. They have bad, or they're like mediocre, good game, mediocre, poor game, like mediocre. Like it's, I don't know. It's weird.
No, I get it. I get it. I think that I get it. I get it. My player of the game here, though, it goes to Rashad Penny. We talked a lot about the quarterbacks in this game. How about giving some love to the running back here? 17 carries, 1 reception, 157 total yards, and 2 touchdowns from Rashad Penny. He's looking like exactly like he did towards the end of last season. I was one of the people who were down on him, at least for fantasy this year, thinking that he was not going to be able to continue doing what he did last year to end the season. So far, he's been in this game specifically.
He's had one game.
This game specifically, he did very good in 157 yards, 2 touchdowns, and one of the big reasons why the Seattle Seahawks take down the Detroit Lions 48-45.